VPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast.
So you have nothing but ash left over, which I'm assuming you could then use as fertilizer. And the process with the incineration of the waste actually does produce a little bit of energy.
This week, the cast discusses a new toilet that doesn't use water, the release of the controversial app Peeple, and Goodyears' new concept tires that can steer in every direction. McFly, you bojo, those toilets don't need to work with water, because this is the Technophiles 290th episode. Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's show. This is episode 290 and I'm here with the regular cast. Vee Laabs, how are you?
Good.
got some laughter in you?
Just being really attentive right now.
Very good.
Yeah.
Krista-Lee, you're doing well. You're here with me as well.
I am here.
And with all of us, I guess, technically. It's for the audio listeners. Also, we have Jacob Gill with us. Jake, how are you?
I'm good.
Did you guys have an okay week?
Yeah.
Mine was fine.
Yeah, it's been... I had like a last minute SmackDown ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Show go to.
Say you went to the First Robotics open house this week.
That is also really important.
Yeah.
It was great. Tom Barrett came by, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett came by. He went to pretty much every tour stop in the open house except mine. I'm a little upset about that.
He heard you were there?
He was
like,
a little
"Get out,
intimidated. But no, it was great. The students put on a really great, it was like part fundraiser, part just sharing it with the community.
It was last Saturday, I think, right?
Yeah, it was. It was great. Tom Barrett said some really nice things, and he took a selfie with one of my outreach kids.
Was the open house was at the high school that Krista-Lee and I visited for her newscast, right?
Yep, it was.
Tech.
Yeah,
Okay.
they cleaned it up and like brought out all their old robots from previous competitions and showed them to the community and showed off what the new bot that they're taking to St. Louis right now looks like for their first competition.
I think they're in St. Louis as we record this episode.
Yeah, they are. I saw pictures of like high school kids on a bus and high school kids and maybe like a hotel like living room or something. I don't know.
Okay.
They were all just bumming around waiting for something.
Is a hotel living room a lobby?
I guess.
Or you're talking about like a living room in a hotel room?
Maybe I could not tell.
This is getting way too
I could
complicated
not
for
tell.
me.
I'm
There's
sorry.
like combined suites or something.
Yeah,
that could be.
probably.
Oh, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
With
the
a little
student
sitting
groups will
area.
do that.
Anyway, so then their Milwaukee one's coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can't remember what date, but
I hope that they let us hang out with them and shoot a little video.
They will. They will. They're excited about like people being interested in what they want to do, and they want to share that with people.
I was chatting with some of the instructors about maybe, I'm not joking about this, maybe we'll do an episode right here on this show, not on the newscast, where we literally interview some of the kids, like have them sit here with us and hang out and talk about like how it went in St. Louis and stuff.
That'd be fun.
We'll probably do that in a few
There
weeks.
are some awesome kids on that team, really well spoken, really smart, and hilarious as
Like
well.
a robot battle tournament report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Recap.
Let's get into it, though. Tonight, we
Those
are
kids,
talking
man.
about... I'm excited. And I really wanted to be there, and then at the last minute, I had a conflict, and I was a little upset about that because I was actually looking forward to it. But at least you were able to be there in both capacities. A little bit because you are involved with them, and a little bit you're involved with us.
Yeah.
Amazing. Tonight, we are talking about... Krista-Lee, you found some kind of toilet that honestly it's amazing. It is, but it's
just hard to...
A few seasons ago, Tina Urch and I talked to a gal who worked for a company that made a like a fire pit that was really good for third world countries. It didn't take a lot of resources. And it burned really, really efficiently. It burned so efficiently that you could technically burn the fire inside a house, like stuff like that.
Wow.
I mean, they would still put like a window open or some ventilation over, like, because you wouldn't want to do it over weeks and weeks and weeks back then. But
Right.
It was really super clean burning. Was it the Ace One or something like that? I think it was called.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm forgetting
the name,
now what the fire pit was. But
that was actually one of the first Technophiles podcasts I ever listened to.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, cool. And so we're going to be talking about that a little bit. I mean, there's no connection here. This is a new. Just tell us what it is real quick. I'm sorry.
It's basically a waterless toilet. It does generate a small bit of power, so they are looking at maybe some third world applications.
It generates power.
It does. It
That'll be
actually
cool.
generates a little bit of power.
Excellent.
But I
thought
will
you were going to
say,
say, like, actually, it does it this way.
No. But I will say real quick, I found it funny. So I found a couple different articles talking about it. And one of them, it was interesting because they had this, in one sentence, they say, yeah, so it'll be great. And it'll be really cheap, put it in third world countries, generates powers, and it'll also be good in luxury yachts.
Well, I guess. No.
Wow.
I'm like-
Okay, that's another end of the spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it totally logically makes sense, but at the
Right.
same time, I'm like, wow, that is quite the jump from third world country to
Right.
luxury
Sure.
yachts.
So we're
Yeah.
going to talk about that. We're going to continue talking about that in just a minute. But we're going to take a break and go to part 2. And in part 2, Vee, you have kind of a follow-up story tonight.
Yeah.
It was about a half a year ago. The three of us, and back then it was Tony Stiglich was on the show with
Yeah.
us, and we talked about an app called Peeple.
Yep.
And the big headline is it's Yelp for people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give us a couple sentences about it.
Well,
Because
after
something's happened recently, I know.
yeah, after they announced what they were going to do with people, and after they got some big fundraising done, or like investors or whatever, the creators got a huge amount of backlash and just kind of like vanished from the face of the earth.
Is this back when we first talked about this?
Like shortly after we talked about this?
Yeah. In fact, so much so that I kind of remember thinking like, oh, I guess that app won't become a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I assumed the same thing, and because there's like so many opportunities to just be abusive on it and be bullying, and how it's a terrible idea.
Which we'll get into in part 2.
Yeah, but it's back. Yeah, apparently they just went through with it. They were like, we're not just going to give away this investor money. We're going to make this app, and
anyway.
there's some changes, but it's still a little bit problematic.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll talk about that in part 2, and then after that break in part 3, we're going to come back, and I have a story about Goodyears' new concept tires, and all I'll say is they go 360 degrees of direction. Does that work?
It does.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
works.
interesting.
Yeah.
The reason I found this story and I got really excited about it because, as is so much the case right now, a year or two ago, it was so exciting to talk about the possibility of self-driving cars. The technology world is over that hump now, even though everyone doesn't have one yet. From a logistics thing, we're past that from an invention point of view. And now all these companies are coming up with, we're rethinking. Society is rethinking how driving works right now, and all these companies are bringing different ideas. We had the Volvo Netflix thing that we talked about.
Yep.
Mercedes-Benz has come up with a physical thing that is physically different, and I think very exciting. So I can't wait to talk about that. Goodyear's new concept tires in part 3.
All right.
And then Jake, you don't have a story this week because this is going to be your first newscast.
It is.
In a couple days, you're going to be in front of the green screen. I'm excited.
Yep.
You
Me
got?
too.
Do you have the nerves, or actually you looking forward to it?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
You'll
get
have
into
a
the show.
blast. You'll have a blast.
That's cool. I'm actually really excited. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, Krista-Lee, what's going on?
All right, so this is a waterless toilet, which is actually, I think that's the most significant point, because I know I mentioned earlier, right, that it does generate some energy, and I'll get to that in a moment, but because clean, usable water can be such an issue in a lot of areas, I really feel like the fact that this is a waterless toilet is what's more important. And so basically how it works, I'm in the wrong page.
Is there a logistic? Is it because like a porta potty is not is flowing waterless? It's not connected to a water line.
Yeah, so actually that's why I was just moving over to other notes. So they are taking into consideration sanitation and smell and things that are still a problem in porta potties. So they're calling it the nano membrane toilet. And
Real
what
good ring to it.
nano membrane toilet?
Eh.
I mean, it rolls off the tongue.
Eh.
NBT.
Yeah. Come up with something better later. So
Well, it's a toilet. It's got nanomembranes
that's
in it.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, so you use it, and it uses Archimedean. Did I say that right? Archimedean screw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds right.
So it uses an Archimedean screw to move waste down. I'm trying to think of really polite words here. Too.
Yeah.
Move waste down.
If this gets a little gross, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not like we're not in suits and ties here. It's okay.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
no.
true.
For tonight, if we're just to make the point, go for it.
right.
If we need to giggle about poop and farts and gas and stuff like
Did
middle
it.
schoolers.
All right, there
he
we
just
go.
broke the
I'm-
seal, so now we
you
can.
broke
the seal.
I broke the membrane.
Okay, so they use an Archimedean screw to move the waste down. And they have what?
Never mind.
And they basically have like a tank-ish thing, not huge like porta potty, right? Like I'm looking at a picture here, and it's quite small.
Could you describe like a small cooler or like a lunchbox? When it comes
Maybe
to
like
size, come
medium
on.
cooler, no, bigger than a lunchbox. We're definitely
Okay.
looking bigger than a lunchbox.
Like the size of a skateboard?
You're weird.
You are weird.
I know,
It's
I'm sorry.
skateboard. It's flat.
Apologize.
You gotta think 3D here. It's like,
on, man.
you know,
Get
the
with
size of a desktop computer, maybe. But of course,
Yeah, sure.
I'm just guessing by the picture here too, right?
Right.
Okay, so the liquid and solid is separated from each other through sedimentation, basically. So you're basically just waiting for the solid to drop.
Just naturally, yeah.
Right. And then, of course, there's some water coming from people peeing in it.
Yep.
And this is where the nanomembrane thing comes in. So I'm going to try to follow the science here. So they have these nanostructured membranes that will take the water in a vapor state. Now, I saw a couple articles on this. I'm really unclear on how the water goes into a vapor state.
Just maybe naturally it will do that. Maybe on like
Maybe,
heat
I'm not
time.
sure.
You can make a vapor. You can make a vapor by taking just a liquid. You could take a plastic tube and put a liquid in it, and if you keep rotating that plastic tube, you spread out the water or any liquid so much that you can increase the surface area so much that it'll start to float in the air. So you can create a vapor without even using temperature.
Perhaps the sedimentation.
The screw might do that.
Yeah, perhaps the
That's just what I'm
sedimentation
thinking.
is just like constant motion. And maybe that's what's separating the molecules into vapor.
Yeah. So that could be why, because that was never actually clearly explained. But so it'll
Probably
take it in a vapor
deep
state, and then the membrane. Well, partially because it's in a vapor state, but then also because of the membrane. Apparently, this gets rid of pathogens as well as odorous.
We got Need for Speed out there outside the studio tonight. I apologize.
I was just gonna say that's just welcome to Milwaukee in the summer.
True.
That's the Harley
Yeah, there we
Davidson.
go.
Well, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have enough of that as we
Yep.
go into the summer here.
This is like the first good day in ages.
I'd
All
say
the
it's like
Harleys.
second good day.
Yeah, it's like the second Christmas.
Come on,
on.
get real.
Okay.
But anyway,
Anyway, let's
so
talk
yeah,
about
we've got the
poop.
membranes and the screws.
Right, and so that that plus the vaporization takes care of a lot of the pathogens as well as the stink. Apparently, this
Oh.
membrane takes care of the stink.
That's fancy.
Because remember, this is gross, but remember with fecal matter,
Yes.
the smell is literally microscopic elements
Yeah.
of fecal matter.
Like
It's
it-
not an odor. If you trap the elements, you can trap the smell.
Yep.
Yes. So the nanomembrane is going to do that.
Awesome.
So you also then take care of that. Which is one of the big things with porta potties, right? I mean, you don't even want to walk into one.
my
So
God,
it's like,
barely. You just hold your breath the whole time.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
an incredibly
terrible.
disturbing thought to think about,
It
but it
is.
is true.
Yeah.
Sorry for bringing it up. There
No,
you go.
it's-
Hey,
no.
that's reality.
Right.
Okay, now this nanomembrane then also, the water is going to like bead up, you know, like water does,
Oh yeah, like,
right?
condensation.
Condensation,
Yeah.
right. So that's going to happen. And then once you get so much, and this is the part where it actually gets the most gross, I think.
Okay.
So once like so much water beads
Build up.
build up and form, then there's like another like reservoir tank where the water
Flushes.
can now
Can
be
be
used
because it's clean water.
because it's clean water.
Oh, sure.
okay.
And like I mean,
I know,
and
that's
people
not
were-
that gross.
I guess it's not like people.
I mean, there's companies out there that are making things where you can drink, with a 1-inch straw, you can drink river water that like animals are using.
Well, and
I
then
know, but-
Bill Gates has been funding that big waste sewage processing place that turns it into drinkable water, like just with like a pass through it. And,
I mean, and for example, like Kevin Costner didn't have a problem doing it when he got his gills wet.
okay,
wow, that's a deep cut.
that is a deep cut. Okay, I understand that the water is clean. I understand this is a thing and the technology, but like I
It's awesome.
I get a little grossed out by the thought of that.
Sure, but it's cool.
Well,
It is, but it
before
is
we
cool.
start washing our hands with it, maybe we'll just use it to like hose
Eye drops, mostly.
stuff down.
I'm
well,
sorry.
watering plants or something.
yeah,
else. Or actually,
less direct contact.
Yeah, no, that's
Right.
true. That's true.
Yeah, we're not
So-
going to put it on or in our bodies quite yet, but we'll put it on plants.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then, okay, so that's the liquid waste, right? So the solid waste is then going to essentially be incinerated, and apparently they have a very efficient method for this, and so that
Are we to assume that the solid waste is basically dehydrated because all the water's been extracted out?
Yes. I don't know if it's completely dehydrated, but it's going to be mostly dehydrated.
Well, once you said incinerated.
Dry enough to incinerate.
Yes, it gets incinerated, so you have nothing but ash left over, which I'm assuming you could then use as fertilizer.
Sure.
Because
Oh
that
my
sounds like it would be
gosh.
good. And the process with the incineration of the waste actually does produce a little bit of energy that they estimate will have. So some of that energy is going to be used to run the actual toilet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they estimate that enough would be left over that you could also power small devices.
Yep.
So you could,
I mean,
it
it always happens.
plug something into your toilet.
No matter what gets designed these days, there's always a USB port on it.
Yeah.
And I'm not making a joke. That's a good thing. You know what
Sure.
I
I
mean?
mean, if you're gonna have a USB port somewhere, it might as well be on the toilet.
While you're
Doing your
Isn't
morning
that,
reading.
And I shouldn't.
You're like, I need a charge. This is
Yeah.
a really good article.
it's
But
this guarantees that you will spend so much time on the toilet in the morning, just
but
looking at
and
your
I'm,
phone.
I'm deducing that it's a
Charging.
USB, of course. But that's true. If there's going to be power, there are times when you can charge up a battery or charge up an LED light and run it for hours. If you just even charge it for a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
this thing
awesome.
does it all.
It really does. So you have you're not wasting water for waste disposal. It's generating clean water.
Yeah.
And it's generating power.
A little bit, and some fertilizer.
And some fertilizer, yeah. They're also talking about renting these out to households in order to not have a upfront high cost
Yep.
for people who would otherwise not be able to afford it. Now, the only thing that, and this isn't a bad thing, but I'm wondering how they're going to deal with this is they mention like you would have to have a special, like your average plumber is not going to be able to come in and fix this toilet.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a little more
That's true.
advanced
Yes.
than pipes.
Yes. So
That's true.
they're talking about having like regional specialists, and I'm just not sure. Depending some of the areas they're talking about putting this, like, are they going to train like a couple of local people?
That's what I would
are
assume.
They
They
sending?
should.
That's what I would
yes,
assume.
I
Yeah,
agree.
stay in that area. Yeah.
Right. Right.
People who are probably already a little
New job.
skilled in that area.
Yeah.
A couple new jobs, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. So I've forgotten. What was is this a company that's doing this, or is this like a college that's putting this together?
Foundation?
Foundation?
Well, it's partially funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation,
Oh,
but
that
there
explains a
is.
lot.
Hold on, let me find it real quick.
And the other question I was going to ask is like, sounds a little silly, but like, is there like a release date on this?
Cranfield University.
Yes, thank
Cranfield
you.
University.
Cranfield.
Cranfield?
Cranfield.
Cool. Do they think? Is this still just kind of a concept, or are they already starting to have working models?
They're going to start field testing now. So like that's why it's in the
Right.
news right now, because
Got it.
they're going to field test it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we'll see.
So I think, looking at the article here, Ghana was one of the first countries that has been earmarked for as a potential location for a trial run.
Sweet.
Oh, that's excellent.
Super cool. Well, that's about enough time here on this first break, the first part here, guys.
I'm
We should-
serious? Did I just talk for 15 minutes?
You did.
No,
It was
this is
great. We learned a
I
lot.
learned a lot about poo.
And at least how they're going to break it
And how
down
they're
using
going to break down some
nanomembranes.
poo.
Totally going to send
was
this
awesome.
episode to my aunt.
Oh,
What?
why?
She's got this weird thing about poop
She worked for
jokes.
Kohler.
No,
Oh.
she loves poop jokes. She's like a 5-year-old little boy.
Oh my-
that way.
Oh my god, my mom's a middle school teacher, so she's all about the immature jokes. So
Oh, you
yeah,
should-
she'll get a kick out of this
yeah.
one
You
too.
should get your mom
Yeah.
and her aunt together. They could
Oh
make
my
their own
God.
podcast.
Oh my god, or they just make
The
middle school
Poocast.
poop jokes.
Poopod. Poopcast.
Dude,
Poodle doo.
dude.
Poopcast.
And
Yes.
on.
And now we're gonna go to break. We're gonna get out of here, guys. Let's see. We'll see you after the break. Okay.
Okay.
In the meantime, though, actually, let's let's wrap this up here. V, if people want to talk to you about their poo jokes on Twitter,
Hey, check out the pod crap.
the podcast, my crap. We're just rolling here. V, people can find you on Twitter where?
They can find me at bear_Annika.
Marvelous and Krista-Lee Malone.
They can find me at Gamer Anthro.
Excellent. Jake, people can talk to you on Twitter at.
You can find me at Critical Owl.
Fantastic. We love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod or find us on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Stitcher by searching Technophiles Podcast. And or they can go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com, or you can you're welcome to tweet me, David Geisler, on Twitter at RaptorPaint. I'll see you guys in part 2.
See you in part 2.
Mm-hmm.